Welcome back to Expensive Coins History Channel. And before you scroll past this video, I want you to stop for just one moment, because what I am about to share with you today could genuinely change the way you look at the coins sitting in your drawer, your old jar, your forgotten wallet, or even the pocket change your grandchildren handed you last Tuesday. I am not exaggerating when I say that two very specific coins from the year 1995 are quietly sitting in homes across America right now. And most of the people who own them have absolutely no idea what they are holding. We are talking about coins that look completely ordinary on the outside. Coins that most people would spend at a gas station without a second thought. Coins that cashiers handle every single day without blinking. But if you have the right ones, if you have the ones I am going to tell you about today, then you are sitting on something that serious collectors and professional numismatists are hunting for with tremendous passion and energy right now. So please, watch this video all the way to the end, because I promise you, it can change your life. Now I want you to think back to 1995. Maybe you remember it well. Maybe it feels like yesterday. The country was moving fast, technology was changing, and the United States Mint was doing what it always does, quietly, consistently, producing millions and millions of coins every single year at its various facilities across the country. Nobody was paying much attention. People were spending their quarters on gum, on phone calls from payphones, on small purchases here and there. But something was happening inside those mint facilities that not everyone noticed right away. Something was being struck into metal that would take years, even decades, to be fully appreciated. And now, in the present day, the story of those coins has become one of the most exciting tales in all of American numismatic history. Today on Expensive Coins History Channel, we are going to go deep, really deep, into the story of two coins. The 1995p Washington quarter dollar and the 1995d Washington quarter dollar. These are two coins that share the same year, the same basic design, the same face, the same reverse, and yet they each carry their own personality, their own story, their own journey from the mint to the hands of collectors, and their own remarkable value that has stunned even experienced coin dealers when they hear the numbers. And those numbers are coming. I will give them to you, clear as day, right in the heart of this video. But first I want you to understand the full picture, because understanding the story is what makes the value make sense. And when that value makes sense, you will understand exactly why people are searching through old coin collections, estate sales, antique shops, and family jars looking for exactly these pieces. Let us begin at the very beginning, with the coin itself. The Washington quarter is one of the most iconic coins ever produced by the United States Mint. It has been part of American life since 1932, when it was first introduced to honor the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The coin replaced the standing Liberty quarter, which had been in circulation since 1916, and it was designed by sculptor John Flanagan, whose initials you can actually find on the coin if you know exactly where to look, just below the bust of Washington on the obverse side. The portrait of Washington is dignified, strong, and classic. It shows the first president in profile, facing left, with his name written above him and the words "In God We Trust" to the left of his face. At the bottom of the obverse you will find the date and the mint mark, and those two small details, the date and the mint mark, are everything when it comes to understanding the value of these coins. Now on the reverse side of the Washington quarter, you will find the American eagle, wings spread wide, proud and powerful, clutching arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other. Above the eagle are the words United States of America, and below the eagle you find the denomination quarter dollar. Surrounding the design is the national motto, E pluribus unum, which is Latin for out of many, one. This is the basic design that ran from 1932 all the way through 1998, when the state quarters program began and changed everything. But in 1995, we were still in that classic era, that long and beautiful run of the traditional Washington quarter design, and that is exactly why 1995 holds such a special place in the timeline of this coin series. Now here is where the story starts to get very interesting, and I want you to follow closely because this is the kind of knowledge that separates people who know coins from people who simply spend them. In 1995, the United States Mint was operating multiple facilities. The two facilities that concern us today are the Philadelphia Mint, which places a P Mint mark on its coins, and the Denver Mint, which places a D Mint mark on its coins. Both mints were producing Washington quarters in enormous numbers that year. The Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint together pushed out hundreds of millions of quarters in 1995. That is not an exaggeration. We are talking about massive industrial production, coins rolling off presses by the millions every single week. And when you are producing coins in those kinds of numbers, quality control becomes a challenge of incredible proportions. This is where errors come in. This is where varieties come in. And this is where the story of the 1995P and the 1995D Washington quarters becomes truly extraordinary. You see, among the hundreds of millions of coins produced, certain pieces emerged with characteristics that set them apart. Characteristics that were not intended. Characteristics that happened because of the enormous pressure of high-volume production, because of die wear, because of the physical and mechanical realities of a mint running at full capacity. And those characteristics, those imperfections, those accidental moments of numismatic history are exactly what collectors go wild for. Because a coin is not just a coin. A coin is a piece of history. A coin is a moment frozen in metal. And when something unusual happens during that moment, when the ordinary becomes extraordinary, the value that results can be absolutely breathtaking. I want you to really sit with that idea for a moment. Think about all the quarters that passed through your hands over the years. Think about how many you spent without looking twice. Think about how many your parents spent, how many your grandparents spent. The coins we are talking about today look, on the surface, like any other quarter from that era. Same size, same weight, same basic design. But look closer, and a trained eye sees something different. A trained eye sees the marks of a coin that did not come out exactly as planned. And in the world of numismatics, that difference is the difference between 25 cents and a life-changing amount of money. Let us talk about the specific qualities that make top-grade examples of the 1995P and 1995D Washington quarters so extraordinarily valuable. When coin collectors and professional grading services evaluate a coin, they look at a combination of factors. They look at the strike quality, which is how well the design was transferred from the die to the coin blank. They look at the luster, which is the original shine and brilliance of the coin's surface. They look at the eye appeal, which is a more subjective but still critically important measure of how beautiful and attractive the coin looks overall. And most importantly, they look at the grade, which is a numerical score on a scale developed by the American Numismatic Association, running from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, flawless coin that has never been circulated and shows no imperfections even under magnification. The coins that command the highest prices, the coins that make collectors reach deep into their pockets and compete fiercely at auction, are the coins that receive grades of 65 or higher on that scale, particularly those graded MS-67, MS-68, MS-69, or the holy grail of coin collecting, MS-70, which represents absolute perfection. Getting a coin from 1995 to that level of grade is an extraordinary achievement, because it means the coin was somehow preserved perfectly from the moment it left the mint. It was never spent. It was never dropped. It was never jostled around in a bag with other coins. It was handled with extreme care, if it was handled at all, and it survived nearly 3 decades in a condition that is essentially identical to how it looked on the very day it was made. And on Expensive Coins History Channel, we celebrate those coins. We tell their stories. We help you understand why they matter, where they come from, and what they are truly worth. Because knowledge is power, and in the world of coin collecting, knowledge is also money. Now I want to talk to you about something that happens in this hobby all the time, something that I think is incredibly important for anyone watching today, especially those of you who may be newer to the world of coins or who are perhaps rediscovering it after many years away. There is a phenomenon in numismatics that we call the hidden gem. It is the coin that sits in a box, in a drawer, in an envelope, in a jar, completely unrecognized for what it truly is, until one day someone who knows what to look for picks it up, turns it over, holds it to the light at the right angle, and realizes they are holding something remarkable. This happens every single year in America. It happens at estate sales. It happens when families are going through the belongings of a loved one who has passed. It happens when someone decides to finally sort through that old collection they put together as a teenager and forgot about for 40 years. It happens, and when it happens, it changes things. The 1995P and the 1995D Washington quarters are exactly the kind of coins that live in those hidden gem stories. They are from a year that many people actually have coins from. 1995 is not ancient history. It is within living memory for most of the people watching this video. That means there is a very real possibility that among your own possessions, or among the possessions of someone you know, there are coins from that year. And if any of those coins happen to be quarters, and if those quarters happen to be in particularly fine condition, then what I am about to tell you in terms of value should make you sit up very straight in your chair and pay very close attention. I also want to speak directly to those of you who are watching today and who have been collecting coins for many years, perhaps for most of your adult lives. You understand the thrill of this hobby in a way that newer collectors are still discovering. You have held coins that gave you chills. You have done the research, spent the hours, attended the shows, and built collections that tell the story of American history through metal and design. For you, the 1995 Washington quarters hold a particular kind of significance. They are part of the classic series that many of you have been completing and upgrading for decades. They represent that final stretch of the traditional design before the state quarters era began, and they occupy a specific and important place in the long history of Washington quarter collecting. The values I am about to share with you are values that reflect the deep respect this hobby has for high-grade examples of classic American coinage. Let us get to it. Because you have been patient, you have listened, and you deserve the full story. Let us talk about what these coins are actually worth. Right here, in the heart of this video, this is the moment Expensive Coins History Channel lives for. The moment when the research, the history, the context, and the passion all come together in numbers that tell you exactly how extraordinary these coins truly are. The 1995 P Washington quarter dollar, minted at the Philadelphia Mint and bearing that small P mint mark on the obverse, in top condition, in the highest grades that professional certification services have assigned to the finest known examples of this coin, carries a value of $51,000. $51,000. For a quarter. For a coin that was originally worth 25 cents. For a coin that millions of people spent on parking meters and vending machines without a second thought. In its finest known state, in the hands of a serious collector who knows exactly what they have, the 1995 P Washington quarter is a $51,000 coin. And then there is the 1995 D Washington quarter dollar, minted at the Denver Mint and carrying that D Mint mark, the companion coin, the Denver counterpart to the Philadelphia quarter from the same year. In its finest known condition, in the grades that represent the absolute peak of what this coin can be, the 1995 D Washington quarter carries a value of $63,000. $63,000 for a coin that spent its early life as ordinary pocket change. $63,000 for a piece of metal that most people would not have looked at twice back in 1995. Let those numbers breathe for a moment. $51,000 and $63,000. Together, if you happen to own top-grade examples of both coins, you would be holding over $114,000 in what looks to the untrained eye like two ordinary quarters. That is the magic of numismatics. That is the power of knowledge. That is why Expensive Coins History Channel exists, to make sure you have the information you need to understand the true value of what American coinage can produce. Now I want to make sure we talk about what drives values like these, because it is not enough to just know the numbers. Understanding why these coins are worth what they are worth is what gives you the tools to evaluate any coin you might come across. And it is what helps you make smart decisions whether you are buying, selling, or simply trying to understand what you might already own. The first factor is rarity. When we talk about a coin being worth $51,000 or $63,000, we are talking about a coin that exists in its finest condition in extremely limited numbers. Remember, most of the millions of quarters produced in 1995 went into circulation immediately. They were spent, they were used, they were handled, they were lost, they were dropped and scratched and worn down through years of everyday use. The coins that somehow escaped that fate, that were preserved in mint state condition from the very beginning, represent a tiny fraction of the original mintage. And among those preserved coins, the ones that grade at the very top of the scale, the ones that are essentially perfect, are rarer still. Rarity drives value. When there are only a handful of coins in existence that meet the standard for the highest grades, collectors who want to own them must compete, and competition drives prices upward. The second factor is demand. The Washington Quarter Series is one of the most widely collected series in all of American numismatics. Collectors have been pursuing complete sets, high-grade examples, and key dates in this series for decades. The community of Washington Quarter collectors is large, knowledgeable, and passionate. When a high-grade 1995P or 1995D comes to market, there is genuine and intense competition among collectors who have been waiting years for the opportunity to acquire one. That demand, meeting that rarity, produces the values we are talking about today. The third factor is certification. In the modern era of coin collecting, professional third-party grading services like the Professional Coin Grading Service and the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation have become essential parts of the market. When one of these services grades a coin and seals it in a protective holder with its grade clearly marked, it provides a level of certainty and trust that drives market confidence. The values we reference for these 1,995 quarters are values for coins that have been professionally graded and certified. If you have a coin that you believe might be special, getting it professionally graded is a critical step in understanding its true market value. The fourth factor is condition sensitivity. This is a concept that is absolutely crucial to understanding why the same coin can be worth 25 cents in one condition and $51,000 or $63,000 in another condition. Condition sensitivity means that small differences in grade produce enormous differences in value. A coin that grades MS64 might be worth a few dollars. The same coin in MS66 might be worth hundreds. And in MS68 or above, we are talking about thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. The jump in value between grades is not linear. It is exponential. And that is what makes the hunt so thrilling, because you never know until you look closely, until you hold that coin to the light, until you get it in the hands of a professional grader, exactly where on that scale your coin might land. And if it lands at the very top, the reward is extraordinary. Now I want to take a moment to speak to something very personal, something that I think resonates deeply with many of the people watching Expensive Coins History Channel today, particularly those of you who are in the later chapters of your lives, who have seen decades come and go, who have lived through the kind of history that younger generations only read about in books. There is something profoundly meaningful about the act of preserving things. Whether it is photographs, letters, furniture, jewelry, or coins, the impulse to hold on to pieces of the past, to keep them safe, to pass them down, is one of the most deeply human things there is. And coins, perhaps more than almost any other collectible, carry that weight beautifully. Because a coin is not just an object. A coin is a piece of the economy of its time. It passed through hands. It witnessed transactions. It was part of the daily life of real people in a real moment in history. When you hold a 1995 Washington Quarter, you are holding something that was made during a specific moment in American life. The country was in the middle of a decade of significant change and energy, and the mint was doing what it had done for over 200 years, faithfully producing the coins that kept commerce moving across this great nation. That coin, if it has survived in pristine condition, if it has been cared for and preserved, is now a link between that moment and this one. It is a piece of American history that fits in the palm of your hand. And the fact that it also carries extraordinary monetary value is almost like a reward for the act of preservation itself. The universe, in its own small way, saying thank you for keeping this safe. For those of you who have children or grandchildren who are just beginning to discover the world of coin collecting, I want to say something directly to you about that. The 1995 Washington Quarters are a perfect teaching tool. They are modern enough that a young person can relate to the year. They are interesting enough, with their values and their story, to capture a young imagination. And they are part of a series, the Washington Quarter Series, that provides an entire lifetime of collecting enjoyment. Getting a young person excited about coins is one of the greatest gifts you can give them. It teaches patience. It teaches history. It teaches the value of research and knowledge. It teaches them that ordinary things, when understood deeply, can turn out to be extraordinary. Those are lessons that serve a person in every area of life, not just in coin collecting. And speaking of lessons, let me share one of the most important lessons that experienced collectors will tell you over and over again. A lesson that applies directly to the 1995P and 1995D Washington Quarters we have been discussing throughout this entire video. The lesson is this: never clean your coins. I want to say that again because it is that important. Never, ever clean your coins. No matter how dirty they look. No matter how much you think you are helping them. No matter what product you think might restore their shine or remove a spot you see on the surface. Cleaning a coin is almost always a catastrophic mistake from a value perspective. Professional graders can spot a cleaned coin immediately. The cleaning process removes the original surface of the coin, it alters the luster, it leaves microscopic scratches, and it destroys the very characteristics that make the coin valuable. A coin that might have been worth thousands of dollars in its original, unaltered state can be reduced to a fraction of that value simply because someone decided to give it a polish. If you have coins that you think might be special, leave them exactly as they are and get them professionally evaluated. That is the golden rule of coin preservation. Now let us talk about what you should actually do if you think you might have a 1995p or a 1995d Washington quarter that could be worth serious money. The first thing to do is to find it and protect it. If you are searching through old coin jars or collections, handle everything carefully. Use clean cotton gloves if you have them, or hold coins by their edges. Do not touch the face or the reverse of the coin with your bare fingers, because the oils from your skin can affect the coin's surface over time. Once you have found what you believe might be a significant coin, put it somewhere safe. A soft coin flip, which is a small plastic holder available at any coin supply store, is a good temporary solution. The second thing to do is to examine it carefully under good lighting. You are looking for a coin that appears brilliant and bright, with strong luster and no obvious scratches, nicks, or wear marks. A coin in excellent condition will catch the light in a beautiful way, almost like it is glowing. The design elements, the portrait of Washington on the front and the eagle on the back, should be sharp and well defined. If the coin looks like it has been circulated, if it shows obvious signs of wear on the high points of the design, then it is likely not one of the high-value examples we have been discussing. But if it looks fresh, bright, and beautiful, then it is absolutely worth taking the next step. The third step is to take it to a professional. Find a reputable coin dealer in your area, or contact one of the major professional coin grading services directly. The Professional Coin Grading Service and the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation both accept submissions from the public, and submitting a coin for grading is a straightforward process. Yes, there is a fee involved, but when you are dealing with coins that could potentially be worth $51,000 or $63,000, the cost of professional grading is a very small investment for the peace of mind and the market credibility it provides. A professionally graded and certified coin is worth significantly more in the marketplace than an ungraded coin of equal quality, simply because the certification provides buyers with confidence. Here on Expensive Coins History Channel, we always encourage people to do their homework before they buy or sell. The coin market, like any market, rewards knowledge and punishes ignorance. The more you know about what you have, the better position you are in to make decisions that serve your interests. And that is exactly what we are here for, to give you that knowledge, to tell you the stories behind the coins, to help you see the value that others miss, and to be a resource you can trust as you navigate this fascinating and rewarding hobby. That I also want to address something that sometimes comes up when we talk about coins with values in the tens of thousands of dollars. Some people hear those numbers and feel a sense of skepticism. They think, how can a quarter be worth $63,000? That seems impossible. And I completely understand that reaction. It is natural to be skeptical when something sounds extraordinary. But the coin market is a real market with real transactions, real auction records, and real prices paid by real collectors who have spent years studying and participating in this hobby. The values we cite on this channel are based on actual documented sales and established price guides used by professional dealers and auction houses. These are not made-up numbers. They are not wishful thinking. They are the product of a market where passion, rarity, and condition converge to create genuine and verifiable value. The history of numismatics is full of stories exactly like this one. Coins that were once considered ordinary, that sat in collections for years without attracting much attention, that were bought and sold for modest amounts, and that then, as the market matured and as population reports from grading services clarified just how rare the finest examples truly were, suddenly emerged as major keys in their series with values that astonished everyone who had not been paying close attention. The 1995 Washington quarters are part of that tradition. They are coins whose story has been unfolding gradually. And for collectors who got in early, who recognized the potential before the broader market fully caught up. The rewards have been extraordinary. Let me also tell you something about the community of coin collectors, because it is one of the most welcoming and generous communities you will ever find. Whether you are a beginner just starting to sort through your first jar of old change, or an experienced numismatist with decades of collecting behind you, there is a place for you at the table. Coin shows, which are held regularly across the country, are wonderful events where dealers and collectors come together to buy, sell, trade, and simply share their love of coins. Walking the floor of a coin show is like walking through a museum where everything is for sale. You will find coins from every era of American history, every denomination, every mint, every grade. And the people you will meet there, the dealers who have spent their lives learning this craft, the collectors who can tell you stories about every coin in their collection, are some of the most interesting and knowledgeable people you will ever encounter. If you have never attended a coin show, I genuinely encourage you to find one in your area and go. Bring your questions. Bring your coins if you want opinions on them. You will not be disappointed. And who knows, you might walk in as a casual observer and walk out as a committed collector with a new passion that brings you joy for the rest of your life. That is not an unusual outcome. It happens all the time because coins have that power. They connect us to history, they engage our curiosity, and they reward our attention in ways that few other hobbies can match. Now, as we move toward the end of this video, I want to circle back to something I said at the very beginning, because I believe it with every part of me, and I want it to be the thought you carry with you when this video is over. Watch this video till the end, because it can change your life. I said that at the start, and now I want you to understand exactly what I meant. I did not mean it as a hollow promise or a marketing phrase. I meant it literally. Because the information in this video, the story of the 1995 P Washington quarter valued at $51,000, and the 1995 D Washington quarter valued at $63,000, is exactly the kind of information that has changed lives before and will change lives again. Somewhere out there right now, there is a person who has one of these coins. Maybe they inherited it as part of a larger collection from a parent or grandparent. Maybe they set it aside years ago because something about it caught their eye, even if they could not explain why. Maybe it is sitting in a dresser drawer in a small plastic bag with a few other coins they saved for no particular reason. And until today, they had no idea what they were holding. But now, because of this video, because of Expensive Coins History Channel, they know. And that knowledge is the beginning of a story that could change their financial situation in a very real and very meaningful way. That is why we do this. That is why we research, why we script, why we sit down in front of a camera and share everything we know about these remarkable pieces of American history. Because coins deserve to have their stories told, and the people who own them deserve to know the truth about what they have. No one should spend $51,000 by accident. No one should drop $63,000 into a vending machine without knowing it. And as long as Expensive Coins History Channel exists, we will keep doing our part to make sure that does not happen. So here is what I want you to do right now. Today, before you close this video and move on with your day, go find your old coins. Search through that jar on the counter, that box in the closet, that envelope in the desk drawer, that collection in the album on the shelf. Look for your 1995 quarters. Look for that P mint mark. Look for that D mint mark. Hold them to the light and see what you have. And if you find something that looks special, take it seriously. Get it evaluated. Get it certified. Because the difference between knowing and not knowing could be the difference between spending a quarter and cashing in on a $63,000 treasure. Thank you so much for watching today's video on Expensive Coins History Channel. If you found value in this video, and I believe you did, please hit the like button right now because it helps more people find this channel and learn about the incredible hidden value in American coinage. Subscribe if you have not already, and make sure you ring the notification bell so you never miss a single video, because every video we publish could contain the key to unlocking something extraordinary in your own collection. Share this video with someone you love, a friend, a family member, a neighbor, anyone who might have old coins sitting around and deserves to know the truth about what they could be worth. Leave a comment below and tell me, are you going to go check your coins today? I read every single comment, and I would love to hear your story. The coins are out there. The value is real. And now you have the knowledge. Go find your treasure. We will see you in the next video right here on Expensive Coins History Channel.